Hey everybody, Parrish here. I thought I would take some time today and just give you a little bit about background on my current focus, as well as my formal experience and just history and career over time. I'm going to talk about 5 different things. First, the current focus, and then secondly, some of my formal background. Third, a mix of companies and consulting, corporations and consulting, and product exposure, organizational exposure, and things like that I've had. Next, I'll talk about just some of the maturity and progressions of technologies over time and how they've affected products and services and different domains of business. And then lastly, talk about some common themes in the work I've done and kind of the work I hope to do in the future. Just to give you a sense of my current focus, I'm spending a lot of time with consumers, basically just helping them better understand what their car can do, how it operates, how it's intended to function, what it can do versus what they think it can do, what the technology and capabilities kind of afford. I believe that we've got too many features in today's modern automobiles. Along with that, I believe we have too much complexity for consumers to really understand what's going on, how to use things efficiently and accurately, and how to not get frustrated. I believe that this complexity and this over-featuring is kind of eroding the brands and eroding trust in different brands. I believe that there's not enough transparency in the value exchange, and there really isn't a hyper focus on constant value exchange. So vehicle purchasers really do not have the mindset that the value and the usefulness of the vehicle is going to change over time, I think, based on over-the-air capabilities and so forth. I believe that we have to spend more time defining what the right thing to make actually is, and then tracking that as it's iterating, as it's being developed, as it's maturing over time, that the accuracy of the correctness of what we're making is being maintained. For OEMs and suppliers and tech companies working in the auto and mobility space, I'm proposing a lot of design improvements, doing a lot of analysis of products and services, and based through the lens of a consumer. How could they be better? How could they be more comprehensive? How could they become more usable, more valuable? What's it like to improve over time? How do you set that expectation? How do you give more transparency? And then how do you define what's next? So I'm fortunate to work on a lot of roadmaps and product and service prototypes, and kind of create what that future might look like, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, or multiple horizons. A lot of that's done through concept development, through storytelling, through evolution of prototypes, looks like, works like prototypes, putting them in the hands of consumers, putting them in the hands of customers, and getting constant feedback, and then rapidly iterating. So you can learn very quickly these days. There's a lot of flexibility in digital platforms. You can fabricate things very quickly, and kind of putting that together and pushing to something that's directionally correct. Over the years, I've worked for a handful of corporations and as well as consulting organizations. I've been fortunate to work on a lot of devices, all of which I think had some sort of screen. Maybe it was just a one-line LED, but screens have been a pervasive piece, from devices like desktop computers, servers, supercomputers, to early laptops, digital cameras, digital music players, personal digital assistants, and then quickly everything evolved into handheld things, whether it was a tablet, a phone, lots of different form factors of phones in the early feature camera flip phone era, onto lots of slabs of glass, in the smartphone space. I've also been fortunate to work in the progression of the digital space, particularly around software, starting with operating systems and then individual software programs, and then suites of programs where, the first data and functions and metadata started to be transferred between programs. And then came apps, as mobile devices emerged. For a long while, website maturity from initial .com sites to transactional sites, configuration sites, advanced search and planning, financial management sites, those kind of things. And on the commercial side or on the B2B side, working on portals and intranets and things like that, where you'd have access to consumers, you'd manage the data, companies would manage inventory, they'd build processes and flows and kind of glean insights from the intelligence of the business and reflect that out into products and services. Of late, there's been a kind of inflection point in my mind of maturity of sensors and sensor types, and then how they connect to each other, the compute levels that are available, the speed of processing, the connectivity protocols and the reliability and the extensibility of the network protocols. I remember 20 years ago talking about network caching, and now we're jumping from network type to network type as we drive. Now just code sophistication, whether it's algorithms, whether it's machine learning, and so forth, whether it's built into the car, whether it's on the cloud, whether it's brought in through your phone and so forth. I think all that's remained consistent over the past, say, 2 decades, but just gotten more reliable and more extensible and more flexible as to what you do with it and the experiences that you create on it. Some of the themes of a lot of the work I've been able to do is, take things from concept to production, which is great, and being involved in the initial identification of a space, through foresight planning and trend analysis and scenario planning and so forth, and and then bringing that product to life, and then going through production, putting it into the world, testing it, iterating it, improving it, and so forth. Thanks for listening. Appreciate your coming to the channel, checking these things out, always open to feedback. And here's to making things easier to use and more enjoyable in the future.